Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Justice for All. We're still in day 1 of court of case 4 of game 2. And, well, we have very, very good reason to keep this day 1 of court, because if we don't, then Maya will be killed, apparently, because she was taken hostage by a man named The Killer. And I think he might make good on his name. So, previously, we got through Oldbag's testimonies, and now we've moved on to Adrian Andrews. Unfortunately, that it most likely is all part of Miles Edgeworth's plan. So, let's keep struggling, see where we end up. Let's begin her testimony. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. No. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. I mean, the glass was already in the photo, wasn't it? Hold on. Yeah, the glass was already in there. And if she really poured it, why is the bottle of ketchup juice, or not ketchup juice, tomato juice? Isn't ketchup a form of tomato juice? Come on. Why is that bottle so full? Like, if you poured that glass there into the bottle, it would overflow. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, but she has the brains to match. And she has the brains to match, rather. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack her when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? Alright. When I found the body. Okay, so what I think Mia's saying is that we can't afford a direct attack. We need to be subtle here. We need to coax out the information. So let's begin by pressing everything. And what was Mr. Onguard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Onguard did say he was taking a nap. Then, I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you... Objection! Right? I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Engarde's knife from his room?
No.
Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue.
After that, I went to Juan's room.
And why did you do that?
As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes.
So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Press further. Is that the only reason?
I beg your pardon? What are you implying?
Only what you have already deliberately told all of us. You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim.
Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time.
Can't get her to talk with a strong piece of evidence, I guess. Maybe continue now. Witness, what did you see when you got to his room?
And there was his dead body. I was in shock.
You were in shock.
What? Was I not supposed to be?
Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corda. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see.
What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo.
This is the photo you're referring to, correct?
Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest.
And the guitar case was like this too.
Yes, it was open and empty, of course.
Hold up. I was thinking this a bit earlier, but I didn't want to say anything. The guitar case, there is some water, but only on top of the lid. Only on top of the lid. In that case, if the vase fell over and broke, the water should have gotten inside the case. The case was opened at some point. Andrews is lying about this. But when? And then, what did you do next, witness?
I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
Juice?
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself.
But you didn't drink any of it, did you?
Huh?
There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it.
I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it.
Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corda, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct?
And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time.
Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you.
Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind. It's no big deal.
What was she starting to say just now? Press further! Now! Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I.
I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Oh, did you? So the guitar case was opened and the guitar removed after Adrian found the body, if even this story is correct. There's no telling if it is. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards?
It was originally on top of the dresser. But when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else.
Lies! Lies! Oh, Edgeworth already knows. Alright, let's press this just for good measure. What kind of flower vase was it? Yeah, that's not the question that should be asked.
It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought it would try to take Juan's pulse, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. And that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase.
That's odd, but she was always in total control of herself.
That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality.
It doesn't sound like there was any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. Alright, yeah, okay, I got it. Okay. I was gonna knock the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case. Oh, no, wait, I meant to... Tab and Q for press and court record are right next to each other. My bad, fellas. Wait, yeah, I present the guitar case, right? Yeah. You testify that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct?
Yes.
And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case?
Is there some problem with what I said?
It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? Yeah, some pieces should have landed in there too. If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards should be inside and not outside the case. Ah!
Objection!
What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all?
Objection!
No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case.
Objection!
But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? I feel like this is one little bit of ground we had. Maybe we should fight for it. Or maybe this is something we have just brought up and we'll be able to come back around to at a later point if we let her be right now. However, if we do that, what would she testify about next? No, she's already shared her whole story so far, hasn't she? I think we need to keep on the pressure. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along, for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. Alright, I guess that was what I was supposed to do. Good on me. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. That is such bullshit. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. I wonder if Edgeworth has started a sentence with anyway at some point in the series. I'd like to know that. Okay. I don't remember too clearly because I was dazed. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see... Are you sure you are the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So, you opened the guitar case then. Boy, saying guitars so many times is a bit tough. Yes, well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corda's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case.
Objection!
As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed.
Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought, maybe the criminal took it.
Why would she care about the bright red guitar?
But, getting back on topic, it's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all.
Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the guitar case, the guitar was still inside. Or something else. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar case was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry.
As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body?
Yes, that's probably it.
I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. Guess I should give it a try.
Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now.
I wasn't planning on letting up, but...
she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance.
yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with.
I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found.
Is there? Oh boy. Okay, what could even be proven wrong here? I didn't see anything on my first pass. Okay, I think it's gonna be one of these three dialogue boxes. Either I counter with proof that she opened it before the vase was knocked over, or I prove that it wasn't empty, or I prove why she opened it. Let's look at all our evidence with those three questions in mind. Okay, the flyer is unrelated to this. The camera is unrelated. The scandalous magazine clipping is unrelated. The map is unrelated. The guitar case bears Corda's fingerprints. I could point out that, hey, no, you couldn't have opened it because it only has Corda's... It only has Corda's fingerprints. Adrian's fingerprints aren't on the guitar case. Is this it? Yeah, she wasn't wearing gloves. Her fingerprints were on the glass. There's no fingerprints whatsoever on the guitar case. Is this it? Okay, just to cover all my bases here, I'm gonna look at other things. No new information there, I don't think. The button. We still need to prove that Adrian might have put this onto On Guard's pants while he was sleeping, but that's not the subject at the moment. Yeah, no, hello, okay. I suppose must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Yeah, no, it's this dialogue here. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case. This evidence says that you didn't leave any prints whatsoever on it. Oh, thank God. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah. Got her. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at that time? Wow, she is the worst liar in this entire series! Oh man. Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the awards ceremony. So of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange, Your Honor. You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at this time? Oh, baby! Take that! I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Oh. Whoa, her glass... What? That's so stupid. I love it. Oh my. Golly. Order. Order, order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. Huh? What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So, the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case... Objection! Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lure us into his misguided... lol, rather. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black... The judge and Phoenix had the same line of logic. It's so stupid. I love it. So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have at it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Well, it looks like I have 2 chances here. That's generous. It can't be the camera, right? Okay, I'm actually really stumped here. The knife, maybe? Maybe it was the knife. No. Didn't we establish that it was taken from Enguarde's room? Adrian couldn't have planted it in the case for later use later. No, that seems unlikely to me. Oh god. Maybe it was a person? Was a person in there? Maybe? I mean, no. No, that's just stupid. Oh my god, what was it? Knife? Maybe? I mean, I kind of want to say it might have been the the nickel samurai costume, but I don't have that in evidence. Unless I could point towards the nickel samurai photo. I am actually stumped here. Wait, didn't we establish the knife was put into the body after the victim was killed? Screw it, Hail Mary, I'm good with a knife. And why would something like that be inside a guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright? Why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Yes, and never bring it out again. Can't a foolishly foolish fool get some love? Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove that the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder? I would say something to prove. The steel samurai costume? You have to be shitting me. Okay. Okay. I guess I was right. I mean, okay, this is another bullshit moment. I'll say that now, but at least I thought of it. The game has trained me to its line of thinking. Okay. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. But wasn't Matt wearing it at the time he was sleeping? What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Wright, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? Oh yeah, I guess I see the logic in it now. The fingerprints were clearly left at the scene on the glass, but we know that Adrian exited the room while wearing the costume. Yeah, the only way she could have done that is if she put it on while inside there, and the only place it could have been is inside the guitar case. Alright, I see the logic. Alright. What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Yes, that photo. Order! Order! Looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Onguard's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. Adrian made the swap well in advance. This was premeditated. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare No, because where would it be hidden? Surely there's only one costume, right? Would the stealing from On Guard make sense? I could have sworn that he went straight off the stage to his room and took a nap while in his costume. It could not have been stolen from On Guard at the time. But it could have been stolen earlier? Oh, this is a tough one. But if it was a spare, where did it go after Adrian took it off? Oh my god, there are holes to each theory. I am going to make a save! Okay, my gut's telling me it was stolen from On Guard. I changed my mind. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. On Guard. So, stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. On Guard would be forced to go naked. Okay, I got it wrong. Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt On Guard did not take his costume off. Yeah, okay. Alright, hurry up with the game over. That was a bit funny, though. What I meant to say was, it was a spare costume. Mr. On Guard did not take his costume off during the break period. Yes, I knew that. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how would you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought his spare to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Mr. Korda, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. Objection! What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Yes? Huh? No? Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai's spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer. And answer with gusto, I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai's spare costume to the hotel was... Oh! Matt On Guard had no idea about this press conference ticket. Had no idea about wanting to confess something. Juan Corrida was going to go on stage pretending to be Matt On Guard and perhaps sully the name of Matt On Guard. That has to be it. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. On Guard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. The plot thickens. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corda, posing as a nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt on guard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Humph. Miss Andrews? I can see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Oh, she was in on it, wasn't she? Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked for help to set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Inpax's suicide note. Perhaps Matt On Guard drove Inpax to suicide, and her note blamed Matt On Guard, and Juan Corda stole the note and kept it safe as blackmail insurance for the future. That's what I think anyway. What? And do you know what the secret of Mr. On Guard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. Ah, I see. I've probably been kind of quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. On Guard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Alright. Well then. I think I can go a bit longer, so let's do that. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. No, the button was pried off. Right? You wouldn't have known that the button was on Matt's person at the time. Right? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Alright, I think I already have a good idea here, but let's press everything. Would you say that this was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Irk. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things. A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix.
They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember.
May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what.
What for? He didn't know about the thing. So would you say this need came from the press conference?
Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt on guard.
And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who sat at the conference and prepared the costume.
But I'm sure Mr. On-Guard himself didn't know anything about the press conference.
Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference?
Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, RB, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right.
Hold on. So, she helped Juan Coretta set up a scheme that would end Matt On-Guard's political career forever. And yet she also acted to... wait. Do I have any evidence that proves that, what possible reason would Matt On-Guard want to kill Juan? Can't be because of the gossip. I feel like it's too early to bring in the suicide report and Adrian's attempted suicide. Has Mr. On-Guard done something to hurt or betray you personally?
Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Corda with this press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. On-Guard, yet you still helped him out.
Objection!
The person on trial right now is Mr. On-Guard, right? But the witness was thinking helping the victim with this plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder.
But didn't you already testify earlier that Matt On-Guard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. On-Guard?
I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I cannot find any flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. It
judge is glaring straight at Mia. He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama, isn't that correct? Yeah, how would you know that at the time? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Irk. Looks like you are outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still get me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. Was it? Was it really? How can you prove that? How can I disprove that, actually? No, huh. Wasn't it cut off, not pried off? Well, this says ripped from his costume, and Adrian is saying it was torn off. That's the same thing. Let's press it. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly. Or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Exactly. Don't look at me like that. Just because I'm prepared and you are not? Arg. I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engard at any time. Why, then, would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corda planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosopher. The Phoenix Wright wax philosopher. I can't even pronounce it, I'm laughing too hard. Oh, Edgeworth, you're on point today. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. Alright. So I opened up 2 extra lines of dialogue. One's a red herring. The other I need to contradict evidence with. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Well, Matt Onguard's motive to kill Juan. I could say that, hey, Adrian tried to commit suicide because the missing suicide note, which was hidden by Juan, but that's such a leap. Okay, what's the other thing? That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. How can I prove otherwise? How can I prove that it was on at the time of his death and was ripped off after? I mean, it would be really easy if the button was visible in Lada's photo, which was Adrian leaving the room. But no, if Adrian is carrying the button with her, it's clenched in that fist. Wow, I am stumped here. This is not good. Maybe both additional lines of dialogue are red herrings. Well, the one thing I can guess is the suicide attempt. Matt might have wanted to kill Juan Corda because of how Juan's action of hiding the suicide note led to Adrian attempting suicide, but it's such a leap here. But at the same time, it's the only thing I have. I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. I think you do. You just don't want to bring it up. That's what you're trying to say here. No. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Alright, See you in a moment. Okay. Wait. Okay, so I'm giving it a little bit more thought here. Maybe I don't have to prove that the button was torn off during the fight. Maybe I can prove that the fight that happened wouldn't have led to that. Juan Corda died from strangulation with a scarf. That implies that someone sneaked up behind him, got him in a grapple hold, and choked him to death. For the button to be ripped off, the fight would have to be way more violent, and that would have left a lot more damage to the room and his body, and more evidence overall. The knife was only stuck in him after the cause of death, and that was right next to the button. So maybe it got cut off at that moment? Okay, if I wanted to go through this line of logic, what would I present? The crime photo? No, that's too vague, I think. Oh, right, the autopsy report. Ka strangled with a scarf. Yeah, if there was a big bloody fight, there would be notes of bruising to the chest or whatever. No, I don't think the fight would have resulted in the button being torn off. Okay, this is a Hail Mary, I think.
Objection!
What? Oh, okay. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. So, strangulation. The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it. Oh, the blood on the button! That's right. The only time he would have bled is when he was stabbed. That's right. Oh. Wow, okay. That's so specific. I can't believe I didn't get that. Which would mean that it was ripped off the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body. Order. What is the meaning of? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Yeah, it was planted on Matt Onguard's person. The murderer wanted to frame Matt Onguard.
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
To have a memento of the crime? No, that goes nowhere. To destroy evidence? No, we already know it was found in a very conspicuous place. This is incredibly obvious, Your Honor. There was only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Onguard. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. Onguard was set up. By the real killer, of course.
And the real murderer...
Oh, that's a typo. That should be the real murderer is, not the real murder is. Ah.
Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Finally. Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Onguard is... Adrian Andrews is the only one it could possibly be. Take that! Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Corda's killer. What?
Order! Order! Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? Sir, have you been paying attention? Yeah. All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. Oh, she got glasses again. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Do you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Onguard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Oh, there go her glasses again. How many do you have, miss? Then, what? What about the button that was found in Matt's hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Onguard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own hakama. Ah! How many do you have? The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Onguard's hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. Oh man, we got her. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
Oh, that's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was a classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Ah! And to top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. On Guard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Wow. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not?
Please stop.
Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews?
I refuse to testify.
What was that?
There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing the witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What?
Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Onguard's room.
Adrian Andrews.
Yes?
Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood?
Alright. Oh, Von Karma knew. Von Karma knew. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? I don't know why this is even going on. The judge should be slamming his gavel with meteoric force. Send Adrian Andrews to jail, dude. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? No! I just gave this big epic speech of every possible reason she could have done it. Come on, this is bullshit. What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. Oh, okay. Okay, I have that. I have that, gentlemen. Hello. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, You don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
Not from my perspective. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Just a recess? Oh my god.
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial...
Wait, no. No, sir. Wait, no, please, God, no, wait. I can end this right now. We don't...
Okay, I can end this.
Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he?
That's grim of him to say.
That's not it. This isn't about that.
Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is.
Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then my, Huh?
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
Objection!
Ah, thank you, big man.
It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true Miss Andrews holds a right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. Oh, she knows where this is going. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring in a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I have already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Well, I thought that Edgeworth was going to bring up the attempted suicide and Adrian's past relation to Mr. Juan Corda, but apparently not so. After all, that seems to be a trap that Edgeworth laid for us in mind. He wouldn't want to bring it up. He wants us to stumble into that ourselves.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
When I found the body, second go. Okay. Phew. Long recession right now. Whew. I think this video went on a bit long than I intended. Oh well, it's all for the best. It doesn't hurt to spoil you guys here and now again, huh? Anywho. Boy,
the intricacy of this. The sheer complexity of every single detail is insane. It's absurd. It's so much more complex than any case. Every single little factor here has like 10 ulterior motives and correlations. Like goodness, I thought case 5 in the first game was complex. No, that doesn't hold a candle to this one. No, sir. My god. Well, I don't know about you, but it seems blindingly obvious that Miss Andrews is a killer, at least with the information we have right now. After all, who else could it even be? I mean, it can't be Will Powers, that'd be absurd. Miss Oldbag doesn't have it in her to kill someone. Lot of Heart's too stupid to plan all this out. There's no one else. There's just no one else. Unless, of course, I bring up the subject that, yeah, it is kind of weird that the blackmailer wants Adrian to be... the blackmailer, the killer, wants us to get a cleared name for Matt Onguard. And how odd is it that he's blackmailing us into doing something we would try to do anyway? I mean, I guess the whole do it in one day thing is plausible deniability for that theory, but even still, I don't know. It could be Adrian, or the game could really surprise me by making my client guilty in the end. Who knows? Who knows, man? I just don't know. Well, I'm done talking up a storm. My throat hurts. So, yes, this has been Phoenix Wright, Justice for All. I've been Zephyr the Jester. I thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you next time, where we might actually end this case and end this game? Maybe? I don't even know. Oh, gods, I'm loving this, though. Take care.